So, hello, welcome back to another episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. Today we are gonna go through something I don't clearly know yet, very important, but it is probably gonna be, is it gonna be a summary? It really depends on whether I can find it, or no, maybe it's gonna be a new one, but yeah, it's always a little bit of a tricky thing. Maybe we're also gonna talk about design. Maybe we're gonna have a look at design. You have used 8 GB of your data. Thanks, I guess. Billionaire mindset, quote unquote. Nope. I see a lot of billionaire mindset, success living etc. type of social media accounts on Instagram, and a lot use quotations from various Stoics. I'm relatively new to Stoicism, but to me they seem to misappropriate Stoic Stoic philosophy and encourage a complete disregard of other people for the purpose of quote unquote success, which it appears to be determined by wealth accumulation and working into positions of power, which to me seems to completely miss the point. Well, does it completely miss the point? I don't really know. I mean, Marcus Aurelius, he was also a really powerful dude, and he was in a really powerful position. Well, I would assume that he also kind of enjoyed his position. I don't know the details, just take it with a grain of salt, but I would assume at least. I would definitely assume, but let's actually see what people are saying in the comments. Most often they are more educated than I am. Some people that are really into Stoicism, chances are they are only using wise quotes to help further their own narrative. It certainly does miss the point, but then again, so do most of the posts on this subreddit. The only tool you have to address this problem is to not miss the point yourself. I feel Stoic quotes rank among the most misinterpreted. I suppose without context it's quite easy to do though. Good, that suggests that our philosophy is very unlike how the average person thinks. Not all unlike how the average person thinks. Things are valuable, but all valuable things are unlike how the average person thinks. If our philosophy can survive almost 2.5 millennia and the loss of most of its texts, it can survive being misquoted. Well, yeah, I would certainly say so as well. It really was able to go through tough times and times of even worse stuff. I would assume that it is going to survive. The question then is, in which way is it going to survive? Is it going to survive in a good way? If there is a lot of misinterpretation, if there is a lot of misquotes and whatnot, then, well, obviously this is going to lead to a completely different Stoicism, as originally intended quite. The question then for me as well is it still the same at this point in time? Is it the same as it was intended to be years ago? And, to some degree, I would also kind of hope that it is not the case, that there are some adaptations people made and some things that, people added, because it should evolve. Of course, the underlying fundamentals and the principles, they, should stay the same, but in the end, times change, things change, metas change, scenarios and objectives people think about change. A lot of things change, and a lot of things do indeed alter, whether it is in a good way or in a bad way or in a very neutral way. And regarding that, I do really hope that it is going to adapt in the future, or it is going to adapt to future things, which, well, I would assume it's going to be inevitably the case, Because at this point in time, people also talk about stoicism and quote-unquote modern stoicism and so on and so forth, which is amazing, which really is. So yeah, and I don't know, like, this question per se, is this stoic? I would, for whatever reason, and I can't actually explain why, say no, it kind of isn't. But yeah, anyway. Could you please go away? There we go. It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. Aristotle. This year I lost 3 very important people to me. My grandfather due to a heart attack, my best friend that I lost contact with, and my sister who just 1 day ago passed away in her sleep. Some things in life we can control and some things we cannot. Of the things we can, I made major mistakes in. I've said hurtful things to my best friend, lied and was overall selfish and arrogant among many other things that caused the end of our friendship. And for things in life that we cannot control, I cannot help but feel some sort of guilt. While I was very close with both my grandfather and sister, I wished I could have done more to just be there for them at any times, or at times when it could have mattered. Those moments where I could be there for them at times those moments where I could have just made an extra effort to spend more time with them, to be more helpful and present, to send a simple text of checking on them that would have made their day. I have lost the line. The day, or to even just update them on every interaction we had that I thought was funny or wholesome, just anything that would cheer them up. It's unsettling to know how they were feeling. What I could have done changed, and the fact that I can never take away the hurt I've caused my best friend, or to know that I can never get back the time that I once had with my grandfather and sister. But life happens, and there is nothing we can do to change the past. Thinking too much about the past can become either bad or good. You either dwell on it or have regrets for the rest of your life, or you honestly acknowledge, learn and reflect on everything towards a brighter future that you hope to create. For the mistakes and remorse to my best friend, and for the sorrow and guilt I felt with my grandfather and sister, and for the accepting the reality of my actions and the consequences. Where is it? Was probably the best first stepping stone to take. Followed by that is to focus on a sense of hope, a light or sort of upbeat feeling underlying every good and bad emotion that when identified and nurtured can flourish into a life that allows for peace and happiness to coexist with darkness. My best friend showed me what it really meant to be genuine, humble, free of the ego, and to start and stand for the truth. It is now my mission to continue working on myself in those and through other virtues that I had always tried but failed at. And while I cannot bring back my grandfather and sister, the sorrow and guilt already feel diminishing as I look ahead and see a reality from this point onwards where every moment with loved ones is appreciated, lived to the fullest, and never taken for granted. This is the reality I want to work towards, and one I hope to create with love, dedicated especially to my best friend, grandfather and sister. They will always mean so much to me, and I only hope that they are happy and at peace. Dark moments happen in life, and as much as we can try to prevent them from happening, they will still keep happening in one way or another. That is just the nature of life, but dark moments don't have to mean dark times, and life doesn't have to be dark. When our mistakes or unsettling feelings can become foundations for examples and visions to live by, that is where darkness is able to coexist with happiness. It reminds me of what Epictetus said: it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. We all have the ability to change how we see things, but while I think that that is absolutely fundamental, I think it is only possible when we make ourselves able to focus on the light. While it is still hard to believe that my sister has recently gone, I do feel that there is always hope in everything. I've always felt it, and I hope everyone else does too, in whatever they may be going through. I do especially like the last part, the very latter part of him saying, the dark moments don't have to mean dark times, and life doesn't have to be dark. Our mistake or unsettling feelings can become foundations, for examples and visions to live by. That is where darkness is able to coexist with happiness. Because I think it is totally the case, darkness can coexist with happiness and therefore light. Good things are always going to be present, even in bad moments. At least we can allow this to happen. At least we can make this happen. To some degree, we can. Well, not only to some degree, but we really can. By thinking in different terms, by thinking in different ways, by trying to be a different person, by trying to do things differently, by focusing on what we should really focus on. We all know so much. We all know so much about ourselves and how to actually live a life that is worth living a life that feels good to us, and living a life that is fulfilling. But not a lot of people act on that. Not a lot of people do also work on what they're seeing, which is pretty unfortunate. I'm not gonna lie, but it is what it is. It is at some point we all gonna look back to those tough times that we went through, the storm that we went through, the storm that we encountered, the very bad things that we have seen, the very bad things that we have done, the very bad things that we encountered. And we're going to look back to them and be thankful for actually seeing this and experiencing this, because this made us the person we are today. And this person that we are today is full of experiences and full of things that no one can ever take from you. You have seen things, you have done things, you have experienced things, and even if you're doing the exact same mistake again in the future, you are prepared. And even if you're doing it just once again, you are even better prepared. I have done so many mistakes, quite over and over again, and I, how should I say? And I think that I am in the future as well gonna make the same mistakes as I did before, and there certainly are things that I need to work on. There certainly are things that are part of me that I kind of dislike and do really also want to work on. But all of these dark things, all of these dark moments, also by communicating them to people you really care about, you give them the opportunity and the possibility to first of all learn from them as well, and second of all understand who you really are. It's not always about the good, it's not always about the happiness, it is not always about the joy, it is not always about the light parts of life. This really isn't the case. But really often as well, those dark things, those things that we sometimes do not really want to talk about, especially when it is about strangers or people that we very recently met, but they can, as I said, give people the opportunity to understand you and learn from you as much as they can ever do. I would say. And certainly something to focus on, and certainly something to learn from this is taking care of people and thinking about the importance of people and thinking about important people in your life, and people in general, and how should I say? Sometimes we may feel that we are alone and everything is fine and everything is good and everything is running smoothly and we're happy and whatnot. But what about darker days? What about days where you would really like to have somebody? Are they going to be there if you treat them like shit now? Well, probably not really. And one should not only, think about other people and deal with people in a nice way just for that sake. Like, this is complete and utter bullshit. One should treat people the best way possible because they are people. And you are a person as well. And there is so much you can gain from a good friendship. There is so much you can gain from a good relationship that it is insane. You know, I do highly recommend, and I do highly recommend to be able to be happy alone. But we are a social animal. People are part of our lives, you know, whether it is about work, whether it is about something else. And well, certainly being able to deal with people is one of the best skills you can ever have and you can ever learn. And so it does really make sense to also hone that craft. So just think about people and treat them the best way you possibly can. In my life, people really did change a lot, and they also changed me a lot in a very, 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 very tremendously good way. And of course, I am tremendously grateful for that, and also lucky in that sense, you know, that I've been able to very often meet very good people. But the question is, you know, the thought is, you could be such a person. You could be such a person that means so much to somebody else. Just because you're so good at X, just because you're just this, that, and the other type of person. You can be that. And I think that it is a worthwhile goal to try to accomplish. You know, being a really amazing person. You know, when it comes to just, you know, being human, but also when it comes to your craft. Just being able to help others. You know, being able to put somebody on just because you have the resources and you have the connections and the capabilities and the abilities and whatnot. For me, this is one of the best things there fucking is. I don't know. Let us never balkanize. Coming from the Christian tradition, there is a tradition from its inception of constant disavowal and separation over what is arguably minutiae of the faith. Also, there is a tradition of triumphalism, no true Scotsmanism. We are the true church, and you are heretics and whatnot. Yeah, I think, I don't know. This definitely is an issue, and I think that, you know, to some degree, this always is going to be the case, because of course it feels good to be part of a group, and it always feels good to be part of the best group. So to some degree, I would say that it is some sort of marketing, isn't it? What are downsides of imagination? Stoic virtues and Catholic cardinal virtues. I just realized that the 4 Stoic virtues and the 4 cardinal virtues of Catholicism are identical. Prudence, fortitude, temperance, and justice. Can anyone tell me which philosophy influenced the other, or did they arrive at the virtues independently? I couldn't get a clear answer from Google search. Very interesting. The cardinal virtues are not present in the Bible, though 3 different virtues called the theological virtues are. The association with Catholicism is probably most directly attributable to the theology of Thomas Aquinas, as is much of Catholic theology, which means they entered into the Catholic meme pool around 1,000 years after the time we think of as associated with the Stoics. There's no doubt he's one of the main reasons that Stoicism and Christianity appear for a long time as 2 of the alleged 4 pillars of Western thought. Yeah. I think that I'm going to end the episode there. Today was an episode full of, I don't know, switching topics for me and my part, and kind of hitting on various random thoughts quite. But yeah. I'm gonna see you soon. Bye bye.